Hi, sweet mamas. Welcome back to Life's a Mom. Today's episode is a little different. I'm starting something new that's been on my heart for a while, and it's going to be called Dear Nicole. And basically, this is a space where moms send their honest, anonymous questions. I mean, if you want to share who you are, you can. Um, but it's the kind you might not even say out loud to your best friend. And I'll read them here on the podcast so we can talk about them together. Because motherhood is beautiful, of course, but it's also complicated, emotional, and sometimes just a lot. Like, my hope is that by answering these letters, you'll realize that you're not alone in what you're feeling. Because one of my biggest struggles when I suffered from postpartum depression, and I didn't even know I had depression, was that I felt alone. And I was embarrassed and I felt humiliated to even admit that I was feeling these feelings. But as I started speaking to more moms and they started opening up, I realized this is more common than we realize. So, anyways, let's dive into our very first Dear Nicole question. And if you want to ever ask me a question, you'll see my email, which obviously probably won't be anonymous. If your name is on your email, you can email me. And then I also have a link where you can anonymously ask me questions. I put it up on my story. So feel free to go on there. And I got really awesome questions. So once a week, I'm going to be reading it. So if you don't want to be anonymous and you want to be featured, just let me know and I'll happily say your name. And if you're anonymous, I won't even know the name anyways. So it's all up to you. But, anyways, here's the question. Dear Nicole, sometimes I regret having kids, and then I feel horrible for even thinking it. I love my children more than anything, but there are days when I feel like I've lost myself completely. I miss the freedom, the quiet, the ability to just be me without always being needed by someone else. There are moments when I wake up already exhausted before the day even starts, and I wonder if I was really cut out for this. Everyone tells me to cherish every moment, but some moments are just so hard. And when I admit that, even to myself, I feel like a horrible mom. I see other moms who seem happy and patient and full of energy, and I can't help but think, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel trapped some days? When is this supposed to be? When this is supposed to be the best thing that has ever happened to me? I don't actually want to change my life or undo it. I just want to feel like myself again. I want to stop feeling guilty for having hard days or wishing for space. Please tell me I'm not the only one who feels this way. With love, a tired, honest mom. Okay, let's talk about this. So, first, I want you to take a deep breath. Breathing and breath technique is so important. So, firstly, you're not the only mom who has ever thought this. So many moms, especially in those like really tough seasons, they have moments where they think like, what did I get myself into? And it's not because you don't love your kids. Of course we love our children. But if you look deeper into it, it's because you're exhausted, you're overstimulated, and honestly undersupported. So it's because you were told motherhood would be beautiful, right? And sometimes it just feels brutal. It doesn't feel as beautiful. So you can love your children with your whole heart and you can still grieve the version of yourself that existed before them. Both can be true. And I'm going to be honest, I've definitely had those moments too. Moments where I missed freedom, quiet, simplicity. Moments where I've literally, guys, I've cried in the shower and wondered if I'm even cut out for this. But here is what I've learned, okay? So, regretting motherhood, it doesn't always mean that you regret your kids. So, I want to really clarify that. Sometimes it just means that you regret how lonely it feels. And we think we shouldn't feel lonely because we have kids and we have people around us, but it is lonely because we feel the change more than anyone. Think about it. We carried a baby for 9 months, birthed, gave birth, and then have to like juggle all of this and like accept our new bodies and accept now that we can't just do what we want, right? Because we have a little one to worry for. So, you can feel unsupported and you can feel misunderstood and you might regret the parts that broke you down and not the little souls you brought into this world. So just remember that, okay? So, motherhood can definitely feel like too much because it's often too much. That's why it's so important to have help. And I'm not just talking about a nanny, okay? Like, it could be a family member, it could be a good friend that you really actually trust. It could be, I mean, even your partner, but I'm just saying that because, like, sometimes you wanna go out with your partner. You wanna, like, do things for yourself and do things with other people, whether it's your husband or friends. It's important to have that help, you know? And my mom will be around to help me sometimes, and it's really nice to have that extra help, you know? Like, my nanny wasn't feeling well one time, and thankfully, I mean, my mom works, she's a teacher, but she was off that day because it was a Jewish holiday. But, like, it's just so important to have extra help. It doesn't matter what, obviously, it has to be help that you trust, but don't put everything on you because you are going to get burnt out. Like, I feel like moms have this fear of asking for help because they feel like they're weak, but that's not really the case. That's amazing that you can ask for help because you're like, you know what? I need to do something for myself to feel better about myself, and that will reflect to your children. They're gonna feel your energy when you get back from a massage or when you get back from just going to take a walk on the boardwalk or just go to a coffee shop, whatever it is. Okay? So, like, it is too much. So, we were never meant to do this alone, without a village, without rest, without help. So, when you do start to feel regret, that's a signal. It's a signal that you need to be cared for as well. You need space, you need sleep, you need connection, even laughter, and just overall yourself. You don't have to earn a break. You know, you don't have to prove that you love your kids by sacrificing every part of you. So if you've ever thought, I wish I could just disappear for a day, it doesn't make you broken. It makes you a mom who needs to be seen. And I see you. My door is always open. So start small and ask for help. Say no. I have to say, I always used to be a people pleaser, and I'm still working on these tendencies. But when people would, like, give unsolicited advice or, "Why are you giving him a pacifier? Like, he doesn't need that. He's not hungry. He's" I'm like, I used to just be quiet, but I'm learning with my therapist, this affects, you know, and this is many moms have said this to me, like, they find that, like, after they had a baby, like, their relationship strained with certain people because they felt always criticized, and it's really not a good feeling. No one likes the feeling of being criticized, you know, and it might be people that you love very much, so you don't wanna hurt them and say anything, but no, say something. It doesn't, again, it's all about how you say it. So you, for example, if I'm just giving a random example, like, if someone comes to you and you give your child a passy because it helps you soothe them and you need a moment to yourself, that gives you a little bit of a break of peace, right? Let's just say, and someone comes and says, he doesn't need a passy or she doesn't need a passy. Why are you giving them a passy? You don't have to be like, can you shut the hell up? Like, I'm the parent, you're whoever, like, mind your business. There's no point because, again, you have to remind yourself they're coming from a good place. And that's something that really helped me, like, telling myself, like, okay, they're not trying to be mean. They're just trying to help. But sometimes people don't know how to say things nicely and it comes off very mean and aggressive. And, like, they're always criticizing you and it makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells. And that's not fun. So if they have no problem saying something to you, you should have a problem saying it back in the nicest way possible. So, for example, you know, I know sometimes people don't agree with pacifiers, but you know what? This really helps me. I don't want to let him cry. It really hurts me and gives me anxiety. I know maybe in the future I'm going to have to work on not giving him a pacifier, but this really helps me. That's it. That's all you have to say. And then hopefully they kind of get the hint and, you know, but don't, a lot of parents, like moms specifically that I've spoken to, and I've dealt with this too, is we shut down, especially because we went through so much. And now, like, after giving birth and healing, and people are coming at you and criticizing you and saying things about, I even had somebody come over one time to see the baby back in New York. And my house was a freaking mess, you guys. It was a pigsty. I'm not gonna even lie. Like, I didn't realize how much I was dealing with postpartum anxiety and depression. And, like, I was just in bed most of the day with my baby, barely getting out of bed. I didn't want to get out of the house. But this person came over and came to see the baby, didn't say anything to me, you know, while we were in my house. But then when we went to a crowd, we went to, like, see other people, that person was like, "Oh my god, their house is a pigsty." And I'm like, "Instead of saying that, why don't you come and support me? Why don't you say, 'Hey, Nicole, I've noticed that, you know, your house, you know, do you need help with anything?'" You know what I'm saying? Like, my sister-in-law, Sarah, I know I talk about her a lot, but you have no idea. She helped me so much, and, like, you really see people's true colors after having kids, and, like, she came, she did my laundry, she saw right away that I was dealing with something. Because usually I'm very organized as a person, but she saw that I was going through this, and she never judged me, never criticized me, never spoke badly about me, you know? She always tried to help me, and, like, she would say things to me and work with me and, like, "Find your Sarah." And that's, like, something I always say even to the moms that I speak to. Um, so, again, sometimes it's hard when we're such in a low place to look at things in a positive light, but it's important to always remind ourselves that sometimes when people give that unsolicited advice, and I spoke about this before, you have to understand and, like, tell yourself they're coming from a good place because they have love for your kids. But again, you're allowed to also kind of like set your boundary and be like, "Hey, I don't like being spoken to like that." Or, "Hey, do you mind like taking me to the side and saying this to me, not in front of everyone? It's a little bit humiliating and makes me feel like a bad mom." And I've had talks like this with certain people that, that I love and that they care. And it's all about having conversation. Like, I've learned that it's better to go to the source. And I've made many mistakes where, like, things would be posted online and I would just, go tell my husband things instead of just going to the person and be like, "Hey, I didn't appreciate you doing this and this really hurt me." And if they react in a defensive way, then that's their insecurity. But if they come back and say, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. You know, I have a very aggressive personality," or, sometimes I don't think, whatever it is, like, and I've learned that. And it took me some time to like get to this place. But like, sometimes, like, I look back and I'm like, "Damn, I was really immature when I did certain things," but, like, you live and you learn, right? You can't beat yourself up, you can't beat a dead horse, so, like, don't be hard on yourself. Because I know some moms have done this. They'll, like, give another mom advice like, "Oh my god, just, write it on social media, maybe they'll get the hint," and, like, no, that's immature. You know what? I'm a victim, like, not a victim, yes, a victim too, but, like, it's very immature. There's no need to go on social media, like, just go to the person and talk. Don't be, like, that was very fake of me to do in the past, so, listen, you live and you learn. Um, but anyways, I wanna get into the next thing is I want you to know when the shame voice creeps in and it says, "Good moms don't feel this way," I want you to answer back to that voice, "Real moms do." This is not about being a good mom. This is about being a real mom, okay? Motherhood is beautiful, but it's also messy and heavy and real. You're allowed to love your kids and still wish some days looked different. You're allowed to be honest about it because that's honesty is what heals you. So, to whoever wrote this, and to every mama who's whispered these words in her head, I want you to know that you're doing better than you think. And I always say this in my podcast. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of rest, grace, right where you are. Okay? Don't forget it. And please know that my door is always open. Even if it's an anonymous question, you can actually just like vent on there. Okay? And I'll be here. I'm with you. You're not alone. All right, let's dive into today's episode, which is something I've really been wanting to record for a long time. So it's about what I wish I could tell my pre-mom self. Because I feel like before we become moms, we have no freaking idea the challenges that we have to face. We all think it's beautiful, rainbows and butterflies because of social media and, what we see in the movies. And it's not always like that. Of course it's beautiful, but there is a side to motherhood that is messy. So this one is for every woman who has ever looked in the mirror and thought, "Who even am I anymore?" Whether you're pregnant, postpartum, or years into motherhood, or if you're not a mom yet and you just want to like hear about this, there's something so powerful about looking back at who we were before having kids with compassion, not judgment. Because that version of us, the one with dreams, freedom, and plans, she still exists. She just got quieter under all the noise of motherhood. So today I want to talk to her. I want to talk to the woman I used to be and maybe the one you used to be too. So before kids, I thought I knew what tired meant. I thought I knew what love was. I thought I'd have it all figured out and that I'd be the kind of mom who stayed calm, made organic lunches, and never lost her patience. But what I didn't know was how much motherhood would stretch me, not just physically, emotionally, and spiritually, in good ways and challenging ways. I didn't know that one day I'd cry in my car after bedtime. Not because I was sad, but because I was just overwhelmed. And in New York is when I felt it the most, especially during the winter times. Like being from Florida and being a native Floridian, natural, nature Florida girl, sunny, sunshine state. Being in the winter definitely caused me to have seasonal depression as well. So I didn't know how much guilt would come with the territory. You know, either, if you're a mom out there who works, like guilt for working, guilt for not working even, guilt for needing space or not wanting space. Like I didn't know how much I would miss myself. Me. So not because I don't love my kids, once again, but because I didn't realize how easy it is to lose yourself when you start giving every part of you away. Like if I could go back, I would tell her like you don't have to disappear to be a good mom. You get to exist as well. Like, you're not just like a mom now and that's it. Like, that's your only title. So I used to think that motherhood came with instincts, like that I just know what to do. But the truth, most of us are just figuring it out as we go. Like, if I could talk to my pre mom self, I would tell her, you don't always know what to do. And that doesn't mean you are failing. Listen, I've Googled things at 2 a.m. I questioned my choices and I've even cried because I thought I was doing something wrong. But I promise you, if you have done these things, you're gonna surprise yourself. Like, you will find strength that you didn't know you had. You will learn to trust your gut, even when everyone else has an opinion. And unfortunately, after becoming a mom, everyone and their mothers have an opinion. So motherhood doesn't come with a manual. It comes with moments. Messy, imperfect, beautiful moments. And those moments are enough. So if I could go back, I would tell her, you'll miss your old self sometimes, and that's okay. You'll miss sleeping in spontaneous, like honestly, when my kids wake up, even at 7, it's nice that it's not 5 o'clock in the morning like it used to be. But I used to like to wake up and just like chill in bed and like cuddle with my husband. And don't get me wrong, we do that sometimes, but sometimes it's not always the case when the kids wake up at 7 and they're like ready to go, go, go. So you'll miss sleeping in and spontaneous dinners and quiet mornings with coffee that's actually hot. um, and there will be moments that you're going to look around at chaos, toys everywhere, someone crying, someone yelling "mommy" for the 100th time, and think like, "Jesus, I miss who I was." And that doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you human. So missing your old self, it doesn't mean that you don't love your kids. And I'm going to say this 100 times, by the way. So get ready. It just means that you are grieving a version of your life that's gone, and you're allowed to grieve that. It's nothing to be ashamed about. You can love your new life and still miss the old one. Both can coexist. So, motherhood will definitely humble you. It'll also make you stronger than you've ever imagined. I mean, you're going to survive a no sleep and you will handle tantrums, blowouts, and meltdowns, and sometimes all before 8 a.m. So, those are the fun days, right? It's a little bit of a circus. But you'll advocate for your child when no one else does. You'll show up for them even when you're running on empty. You're going to learn what it means to sacrifice, and you're also going to learn when not to. If I could go back, I would tell her, you are capable of more than you think. You are allowed to struggle, and you are still worthy, even on the days that you break down. And breaking down is normal, and it's okay. You're not weak for breaking down. Because being strong doesn't mean never crying, okay? It means feeling it all and still showing up anyway. And before kids, I just want to say, I thought love was butterflies and romance. Now I know love is staying up all night with the sick baby. It's sitting on the floor while your toddler screams and reminding yourself that they're safe. It's forgiving yourself over and over and over again for losing your patience. Love becomes something deeper, something unconditional, something that changes how you see the world and yourself. So, again, if I could tell my pre mom self one thing about love, it is this: you're going to love your kids more than you thought possible. But don't forget to love you too. And after having my first son, I forgot to love myself. I thought I did, but it wasn't internally. Motherhood is going to change you in the best and hardest ways. That's a fact. You'll become softer in some places and tougher in others. You'll find strength in your voice, courage in your vulnerability, and wisdom in your mistakes. The woman you were before motherhood, she was amazing. But the woman you're becoming, she's effing unstoppable. So if I could go back, I would tell her, you will lose parts of yourself, but I promise you, you'll gain pieces that you didn't even know you were missing. You're gonna become someone more compassionate, more grounded, more real. Someone who can hold chaos in one hand and gratitude in the other. You'll learn to give yourself grace, and that's the most beautiful transformation of all. So, if you're listening right now and you feel lost, I want you to know your old self isn't gone. She's still there. She's just waiting for you to look up and notice her again. Motherhood changes you, but it doesn't erase you. So take a deep breath. I'm going to do it with you right now. Breathe in for 3 seconds and breathe out for 3 seconds. Look at how far you've come and remind yourself you are doing better than you think. I promise. I promise you that. Well, mamas, I hope that this episode gives you the same permission I wish I had given myself to be messy, to be real, and to be human. Because life's a mom, and we're all just learning as we go. Thanks for being here. Take care of you, and I'll meet you back here next week on Life's a Mom. Bye-bye.